Hey guys, it was a little bit slow out of the gate this morning, right? So if you were in our morning mentoring session, we had Amerisource Bergen was really the only gap that put us in front of an opportunity. That's ticker symbol ABC. That one was pretty amazing though. It was right out of the gate settling into the top of its range. We had a fib expansion on it at the 150% expansion. It went exactly to the penny to the 150% expansion. It hit it a couple times, rang the bell a few times, so everybody had a chance to get out with a profit on that one. And other than that, we had a slow morning in terms of the gaps. The rest of the stuff was either spread too wide or just didn't have the volatility that we needed for a good setup and an entry. Now, let's take a look at the charts and what I'm doing on the QQQs and Microsoft. Here it is, the QQQ. So, what to do here this morning? This has been a pretty persistent uptrend. We had a gap down first thing in the morning, nothing major, some inflation worries again, and it looked as though maybe, just maybe, the markets were going to sink a little bit right after the opening bell, but that didn't happen. They found their footing, and this gave us decent opportunities. First off the pivot line. So this is always a nice trade when you see it happen, where the price comes back down into the pivot, and then you catch an inflection, and then the next go around you kind of know where the stop would be. So get a little bit of noise, that's usual on the triple Qs, but you can see here that if we use this as a stop threshold, then the next time price comes down to the pivot, we've got a nice reason to take the trade. This one got us up into $284 per share, so nice move. That's about a buck, just over a buck, $1.18 per share traded. And then over the course of the morning, what I've been looking at is these inflections. Where does it come in, inflect, and move higher? What's the elasticity below that line? So if we want to know where we're going to put a stop, how far below the line did price go the first time that it inflected there? And in this case, not very far at all. So you're able to set a 15 or a 20 cent stop, a very tight trade. And then as price has been moving higher, this VWAP level up in here has been the area that I'm focused on for these inflections. Same kind of a thing. It's got nice tight inflections here. It's not going to be as strong as this underlying support, but I'm giving it a shot, and that's going to be my focal point here for the Qs for the next couple hours probably. Here is your chart of Microsoft. And I talked to a couple folks in the room this morning. I talked to Eric. Where do you plan to get into this trade? How do you plan to get into this trade? And what I said was, I'm going to focus on, first and foremost, it has to follow the Qs, right? So we want to make sure that we see that price is in sympathy with what's happening in the broader markets. And you can see here that as it made this move up to the central pivot, we also had the QQQ moving higher. And this time of day was where I said to Eric, the thing that you want to focus on is the reaction to that pivot line. You want to see this oscillate, that pivot, get tighter and tighter around the pivot, and then when you finally get the break to the upside and you get your entry opportunity, what you want to do is focus all of your attention on catching a move that doesn't start way down below where that pivot line is. So you don't want to be, you don't want to be coming from down here and then break up through that line. What you want to see is exactly what happened, that we get a consolidation, gets these highs, and then we get a start right here that just pops us up through that pivot line. And there's not a whole lot of range on the distance from the bar's low to where it gets us into the trade, and that's the indication then that we're going to get this move higher up into the bands. So once we get into the bands, once we're up here, we trail our stop at 247.31. We're hoping that it's going to go all the way up to that top band. It didn't. We don't always get what we hope for, but some of you have had questions about how do you trail the stops. Generally speaking, I say when you get to this profit objective, you trail your stop at the entry. When you get to this profit objective, you trail your stop at this first target. And when you get to this one, if you're looking to trail the whole thing, if you think there's a reason it's going to move higher, then you want to trail, in this case, at 247.95. But that's been the game plan this morning, and that is where I have focused my attention. So that's it. It's been kind of a quiet morning. This, again, is not about how much money can I make on any given day. This is about honing your skills, honing your craft, managing your money, managing the risk, and making sure that you're always on the right side of that equation. You don't want to be giving back more than you make. Don't let these things swing against you. Always know where your stop is, and always have a game plan for how you're going to handle the trade once you're in. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.